Is it possible that Gypsy Rose Blanchards' public defender attorney, Mike Stanfield, lied or withheld information from the medical records, ended up giving Gypsy Rose the sweetest plea deal that essentially taught her nothing? Because apparently Mike Stanfield was ready and willing to lie on behalf of Gypsy Rose Blanchard on camera in the documentary Mommy Dead and Dearest. He lied about key information within the medical records in order to manipulate the public and anyone who watched that documentary into believing that Gypsy was medically abused, and they didn't correct it. Let's look at what he said in the documentary, and then let's go to the actual medical records to see how he lied.
Talking to the doctor here, and she's talking about how she has mental and developmental delays, needs assistance. Apparently, while holding her hands over Gypsy's ears so as not to offend history of mental retardation, 7-year-old level her mom. And so this was the one time where a doctor actually put in the record that Dee Dee's got her hands over Gypsy's ears. So Gypsy can't even hear what mom is telling the doctor. Then we get into the family history. The family history changed depending on what doctor she was at. You'll notice here, there's not a good history. She ends up going to the...
This is the actual medical record that the attorney is quoting from. So let's actually read what it says. Paraplegic, needs assistance for activities of daily living, has some difficulty with fine motor control, can write and feed self, but mother describes as clumsy while holding hand over Gypsy's ears as not to offend, period. Then history of mild mental retardation. So, you know, if a pair of parentheses are before the period, it doesn't apply to the next sentence. So she covered Gypsy's ears so that Gypsy wouldn't be offended by her mom calling her clumsy. Not because Dee Dee was hiding information and Gypsy just had no idea what was going on. So this was at a time where the lawyer was asked to give mitigating information for Gypsy Rose's case. And in the same document that he's reading from, you know, Gypsy's claims as to that she could never speak, it was always her mom. She just had to sit there and be quiet. If she spoke too much, her mom would get mad. Read this sentence right below me. It says, NAD, wheelchair bound, very pleasant and cooperative. Vocabulary seems more advanced than second grade. Fluent and engaging, extremely polite. So if Gypsy was also not allowed to speak to the doctors or even hear what's going on, how would they know that she has a higher vocabulary than that of a second grader? So then the attorney goes on to basically say that this was another huge piece of information where the doctor writes in bold that the mother is not a good historian. Why would he make that point when he has access to the records and it says over and over and over all throughout nearly every single visit, Dee Dee told them that herself. She said, I was in an auto accident and I suffered head trauma, so I have memory loss. And you know, you always hear people saying that criminal defense attorneys have no conscience and they're liars and they're bad people because of who they defend. And I don't necessarily believe that's true. There's a lot of attorneys that are really good people and actually use the truth. But this is an example of one of those bad attorneys that are liars. He just didn't think that this information would ever go public. So I want to know, why? Why would he be willing to lie for Gypsy Rose Blanchard? And what did he expect to gain from doing so? Because if you pay attention, like, you can see he's still very much a part of her career right now. And that's pretty rare for especially a public defender to stick around in the way that they stay with somebody for that long. Usually if somebody has a public defender, they get sentenced and they get a new one and a different one, blah, blah, blah. But he's stuck with her. That's odd. You know, they say it takes a village to raise a child, but it also takes a village of liars to elevate someone like Gypsy Rose Blanchard to the platform that she has. Stanfield probably thought that he would just, say whatever he needed to say and move on with it, and people just wouldn't care. But, now is a good time in history where we're calling people out and holding them accountable for the things that they do. And of course, I'm not offering anything about this as fact, other than if somebody would lie on camera in a documentary as an attorney, why wouldn't they try to do something or withhold information from a DA or a judge? I'm sure if it was possible for Mike Stanfield to actually file a lawsuit on behalf of Gypsy Rose Blanchard against the doctors for medical malpractice, he would have already done so, but he is well aware that he cannot do it. Because there was no malpractice. There was no hundreds of surgeries. There was only surgeries that she needed. Multiple tests came back irregular. The muscle biopsy that she says is normal, not normal. Due to her chromosome disorder, which also had a test. So I can't help but wonder if they somehow destroyed records, because I think the doctors were also in some kind of insurance fraud thing. But I don't know. I think a lot of them knew there was something wrong with Gypsy, but they just didn't know exactly what. And they knew that Gypsy was exaggerating a lot of her symptoms, because that's in the medical records as well. And I think Gypsy enjoyed the attention just like she does now. So it was probably her idea to shave her head whenever her mom had cancer. Because I'm sure Gypsy was well aware of the type of attention that kids with cancer get. And look what she got from it. A whole bunch of Disney trips and a whole bunch of stuff. But as an attorney, different if you choose to not say something because it would make your client look bad, but to say something that is deliberately untrue in order to manipulate people shows what kind of attorney that you are. But I don't know, that's just my opinion. And I'm not saying he did or did not withhold any evidence, but I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me since he appears to be willing to lie on camera for a documentary, knowing that people believe documentaries a lot of the time as true factual information. Your client really learned her lesson in prison, didn't she, huh? She's doing great. Super rehabilitated. So how much did you get from it, Mike Stanfield? Just curious. What do you guys think? Do you think it's a possibility? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget the follow button and share this video so we can maybe hear back from him. And I will see you guys later. Bye.